Good morning. Welcome to Conversations with CK. It is your boy, Coach CK. Hey, it's Thursday morning. It's New Year's Eve day. Just got done at the gym, and actually Thursdays are my days for my call with my men, Man Up Ministries, our group of disciples that are going through the battles together of life and trying to be good husbands, fathers, workers, Christians, all that entails. So, and yesterday I just got off of a call with my fitness coach and my business coach, kind of John Madsen, and then he had Tim Kite on. And Tim Kite, if you guys have never heard of him, go to the R Factor or Google the R Factor and just check out his stuff. He's got this thing right now where it's only like $100 for access to his course for like the whole year, which is just crazy cheap, and it's probably the best value. And talking about emotional intelligence and communicating emotionally, communicating well and managing your emotions and managing your response. And it's just one of those things that it's like a critical life skill, but nobody ever talks about it. And so in order to have success in life and success in relationships, I think is super important. And in order to have success in relationships, you have to have enough emotional intelligence that you know how to communicate well and that you can have that awareness and that ownership of when you're being a douchebag and when you suck and when to say you're sorry, how to do it, how to understand what is going on, and just how to frame every scenario, every event. He's got this cool formula called E plus R equals O. And that's what his thing is. The R factor is basically an event. Then you have your response to the event is what leads to the outcome. And so all we can really control is our response, right? Our R factor. So it's about how do you manage that. So I'm not going to go super into that. I think that his training is the way he's like a Jedi, meaning like he takes something super, super complicated and makes it so simple that like it's literally easy to understand and implement. And then it's just a matter of getting reps. And I think that's what's cool about it is like you could pass it along to anyone and they could get value from it. So highly encourage you to check that out. I don't get any like financial gains or anything from it. It's just, he's really good at what he does, and I get a ton of value just on the 2 calls I've had with him. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Today we are talking about being at choice and choosing the discipline over the default emotion and setting the frame for that and setting the perspective on that to allow yourself to make the right choice, to get what you want, and to feel good about it. And let me explain a little bit. So when you're in a situation, right, if we're going to use this E plus R equals O formula, there's events that happen all the time. And then as humans, we get triggered by these events. Triggers are not a bad thing. It's just like we interpret everything as it comes. That's our job. Like we have this brain, we have this mind. Our job is to interpret things, filter them, figure out if something's dangerous, if it's good, bad, whatever. We put our own perspective on everything. Our reality is unique to us, right? An event could happen and 2 different people are going to interpret it in different ways. Our stories and our upbringing and our filters are all different based upon, our individual experiences. So we have this event occur, okay? It's a trigger, and it's I'm going to use an analogy that I think everybody could understand that's pretty simple. Would be like somebody cuts you off in traffic, and that is just going to be my blame. Then I'll maybe use one from my own personal life so you can kind of get a feel for it in real life. But just say somebody cuts you off from traffic, okay? The event was somebody moved their car in front of you at so much closeness that it elicited a response of maybe you got scared, you got nervous, you got angry, you got frustrated. You kind of interpreted that as, hey, these people cut me off. Hey, maybe they're irresponsible. This person's an asshole. What a jerk. Maybe you interpreted that they did it on purpose. Your brain is going through all these things. The default emotions that come up from the anger, the frustration, the rage, like those things would lead me to then want to maybe flip the person off, maybe shake my hand at them, maybe I want to swerve back around and teach them a lesson, show them something. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that maybe if my ego was in charge, it would not want me to look bad, and it would feel like this person's trying to get one over on me. I got to puff out my chest. Now, if I slow it down and I breathe and I make a disciplined decision, that's what a lot of this training is about. It's like kind of taking a breath, as a Christian, smile and breathe, which is one of the Missouri monk, my boy Brent, that's on our calls, always talks about. It allows you to make enough space there that you don't just go off of that ego and you don't go off that initial gut reaction. You can actually process, and what I would say is then do the thing that is going to bring you closer to your goal. It's going to honor Christ. It's going to be loving. It's going to be a decision where you didn't make it in a split second out of the emotion and the default. You actually chose, and that is our gift from God. Like as humans, we are always at choice, so we get the choice. And so by choosing, you're exercising the discipline, and you're actually you're not letting the devil win, and you're not being a slave to the emotion. You're actually taking control, and you're using your choice for good. And what I wanted to talk about is, I don't know if it's just me or if this is common, but when I don't let the ego win, I don't know if it's the ego, the devil, I felt like a huge pussy. So like in that road rage situation, if I were to not, okay, if I were to think rationally, take a breath, this dude just cut me off. My goal in life is to, make a lot of money, help my family be safe, and live a long life, honor Christ. There's all these things running through my brain that going and fighting this person or bumping their car or trying to get them in an accident, any of those roads that it goes down lead to something that I definitely don't want. But the ego would have me believe that if I don't puff my chest out, that I got punked and then I'm like some little bitch. And so in the past, I would feel like anytime I made that choice and I was choosing, I would say, the Christ consciousness, the discipline, if I was choosing after taking that breath and making the quote unquote right choice, I would feel like I was almost losing. You know what I mean? I wanted to do this other thing and I chose this thing because it was the right thing to do. But really, I wanted to just punch this person. And I was such a pussy. How do you reframe that story so that you actually can feel like that every time you don't choose your ego, you don't choose a default, you're winning. And then if you actually do choose the default and you give in, you are a slave. You are a pussy. You are a weakling that is letting the ego, the devil, you're letting that default response run your life. And you are definitely not going to get what you want. And to become a master of your emotions through the power of Christ or through the power of giving up that control and letting that higher power, you're actually in charge of your life. You're actually way more successful, winner, tougher. I don't know what the word needs to be. And again, I'm just kind of spitballing here. You guys can drop it in the comments if this is resonating with you. The one area in my personal life, obviously we got the traffic violation. Everybody's kind of been there, but maybe you're not like a road rage person. But if you're listening to my stuff, you're probably married. And if you are married, your wife knows how to push your buttons better than anybody else in the world. They know you better and they know exactly what can really get your goat. So a lot of time on our calls, we talk about not making stuff a button. Well, no better way to practice not making stuff a button than to be married, especially if your wife's really good at that stuff, which mine is. She is a mental, emotional ninja. That's why I married her. I love her to death, but she knows how to throw those darts in there. And that's why I love her. She's a badass. So anyways, she's a sharpshooter. So a lot of the time, I know to take the bait on one of these darts that hits me. It's like, to be the bigger person is actually tougher, but I feel like such a pussy if I just let that slide, or if I don't fight fire with fire. And then it ends up me taking a deep breath. What do I truly want? How do I get back to getting good? And now when it comes to the relationship, I want to create an amazing life with my wife. I've said that from day one. I want to be a good teammate. I want to be reliable. I want to be responsible and trustworthy, and give her a partner that she likes to do life with. So if I'm acting in a way that is going to make her not want to do life with me, and I'm choosing to do this off of these default responses because I'm frustrated, angry, mad, bitter, whatever, I'm a slave. I'm a pussy. I'm a little bitch that's letting my emotions take me away from what I want. I have the power of Christ to choose to do the right thing, and I'm choosing that. But I've always framed it as, if I choose to do the right thing, then I'm not being a leader. I'm not being a man. I'm being a little bitch. Its wife is wearing the pants. And so that is kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to throw that out there, that in fact, choosing the hard thing, whether that means swallowing your pride, whether that means apologizing, whether that means taking loving action in the face of feeling disrespected, being a big enough man, being strong enough to not let your ego get in the way, not being a slave to your ego, but being able to squash that so that you can get what you want, I feel like is huge. It's a huge step in being a leader, being a man, leading your family, and just generally winning at life, being successful, right? Christ has made this connection with us. He did the work. He's already won. We have the choice to tap into that and do the right thing, be the bigger person, be strong enough to get smacked in the face, figuratively, and be loving. And that really is the challenge. And I think that a lot of it maybe comes from cultural. Maybe it is just like our human nature. I don't know. But I wanted to throw that out there and talk about how choosing sometimes the thing that makes you feel like a pussy is actually the tough thing. There we go. We brought it all back together. So I encourage you to be a badass by telling your ego that you run the show, that you have given your life to Christ, and this Christ consciousness runs the show, and the ego takes the backseat. The ego is going to hate that. It's going to make you feel small, weak, like a pussy. But at the end of the day, you get to choose to operate with the power of the guy that created the universe, the creator of the video game we're in right now, this little boot camp called life. We either get the power directly from the source, all the cheat codes, if you will, or we can choose the other way and not get what we want and be a slave and think that we're tough. And then when we come down and those emotions go away and we realize we're sitting here not even close to what we want, that we truly lost. So don't let yourself fall into the trap. I love you guys. You got to be able to master your emotions. Big men, strong men are in control of their emotions. Men that are winning in their business, in their fitness, in their relationships, they're winning because they know what they want and they do what it takes to get there. They don't let their emotions dictate the actions that they take. All right. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.